Welcome to a journey through time to the Wild West. In this video, you will see historical footage depicting life on the American frontier during the 19th century. Get ready for an adventure full of cowboys, Indians, duels, and breathtaking landscapes. After the Civil War, the American West was in large part settled by freed slaves who sought to both distance themselves from their past but also to seek a better future in a place where the established and rigid prejudices of the East held less power over their lives. Construction of a railroad bridge in Green River Valley, Wyoming with Citadel Rock in the background, in 1868. In this 1903 photo, a black sheriff in Pocatello, Idaho sits astride his horse. As many as 1 in 4 cowboys in the Wild West were black, though their stories have often been ignored in favor of those of white settlers. Right after the Civil War, being a cowboy was one of the few jobs open to men of color who wanted to not serve as elevator operators or delivery boys or other similar occupations, said William Loren Katz, scholar of African American history. The Klondike Dance Hall and Saloon, built for the Alaska-Yukon Pacific Exposition in Seattle, Washington in 1909, had to be temporarily closed down for being too realistic. Chinese workers were initially hired for manual labor on the railroad, but were found to be highly capable of more skilled work and were soon working as track layers, masons, and even foremen of other railroad laborers. Their immigration to the United States would prompt one of the U.S.'s most infamous anti-immigrant backlashes in its history. Few places are as tied to the mythologizing of the American West as Dodge City, Kansas. Seen here in an 1878 photo, Dodge City was one of the major terminals for cattle drives from further west, which meant a lot of young, amped-up cowboys with guns crossed paths in and around Dodge City, and it took equally tough lawmen to keep the peace. Arguably one of the Wild West's most famous outlaws, Billy the Kid, born Henry McCarty, 1859 to 1881, left the Irish slums of New York City to make a name for himself out west. After several brushes with the law, including a number of murders, Billy the Kid became part of the Lincoln County Regulators, a deputized posse in New Mexico whose attempt to bring the killers of ranch owner John Tunstall to justice became known as the Lincoln County War. It was during this period that Billy the Kid became famous nationwide for killing as many as 27 men, though the real number was much lower. The law finally caught up with Billy the Kid, however, when he was shot and killed in 1881 at the age of 21. A miners' camp set up along the side of a mountain in San Juan Country, Colorado. Outlaw Belle Starr, 1848 to 1889, after her arrest by Deputy U.S. Marshal Charles Barnhill, Wright, in 1886. Starr's story was widely publicized at the time by the National Police Gazette, who dubbed her the Bandit Queen. A mound of bison skulls circa 1870s, taken during the U.S. Army's drive to put an end to the resistance from the native tribes of the western United States. Believing that hunting bison was a critical source of both food and social unity for these tribes, the U.S. Army encouraged the mass, indiscriminate slaughter of buffalo herds wherever they were found to deprive the native tribes of their communal hunting practices as well as the food that they depended on to survive. Calamity Jane, born Martha Jane Canary, 1852 to 1903, was a famous frontierswoman and scout known for her generous spirit on the one hand and her daredevil persona on the other, as well as the stories of her various fights with raiding parties from several native tribes. An acquaintance of Wild Bill Hickok, to whom she may have been married at some point, accounts vary. Judge Roy Bean, 1825–1903, the law west of the Pecos, held court inside his saloon in the desert of southwest Texas. Eccentric to the core, he is often portrayed in films, television, and novels as a so-called hanging judge, but he only ever sentenced 2 men to death, one of whom escaped custody before he could be hanged. Bull Chief, of the Apsaroke, Crow, tribe, circa 1908. As a warrior, Bull Chief led many raiding parties into white settlements in the 1870s, but after the westward expansion of the United States overtook his people, he was forced to move to a Crow reservation. Inside the Table Bluff Hotel and Saloon in Humboldt County, California. 1889. Bass Reeves, 1838–1910, was a former slave who rose to become the first black deputy U.S. Marshal west of the Mississippi River. He is credited with making more than 3,000 arrests during his career and killed 14 outlaws in self-defense, preferring to bring criminals in alive whenever possible to face trial. Trappers and hunters in the Four Peaks country of Browns Basin, Arizona Territory. The lynching of John Heath in Tombstone, Arizona, in 1884 after he participated in a robbery gone bad that ended in a massacre. With little in the way of formal law in the Wild West, it was common for men found guilty of a heinous crime to be promptly hanged with no chance for recourse. If you enjoyed our content, please like and subscribe to our channel. It is very important for us to continue providing you with these time-traveling experiences. See you in the next video.